Now we ran the numbers from a purely engineering, kind of a physics perspective, and we took a look at Santa's credentials, and to say the least, this guy is very, very impressive, and I think that's why people like him so much. Now, for example, there are roughly 2 billion children on the planet. That would be children under 18 years of age. But you got to take in consideration though that Santa does not deliver to Hindu households or Muslim households or Jehovah's Witnesses or Jewish or Buddhist religion households, and so that actually reduces his workload to about 20% of the total, which is roughly 400 million children. That would be according to the Population Reference Bureau. So if you were to factor in that the UN says that there's about 3.5 children per household worldwide, that would say that Santa actually delivers to 110 million households, assuming that there is at least one good child per household. Now you think about this. Santa's got about 31 hours of Christmas to work with thanks to the rotation of the Earth and the different time zones and all that. This is assuming that he goes from east to west, which I believe that he would, because obviously Santa's very intelligent considering that he runs a worldwide conglomeration like he does. And now this works out to be about 967.7 visits per second. Now you think about what this guy has to do. He's got about 1/1000th of a second to land on the roof, jump out of the sleigh, to go down the chimney, fill the stockings and distribute the rest of the presents around the tree, to eat whatever cookies or whatever's been left out for him as a little snack, to maybe go to the bathroom, do whatever he's got to do, to get back up the chimney, get back into the sleigh and get on to the next household. Now you think about that. That is really cruising for a fat guy. And just a little side note, that's why it's almost pointless to stay up and watch for this guy. He is moving way too fast for you to see. Assuming that these 110 million households are evenly distributed around the Earth, which we know to be false, but for the sake of our comparison, let's just assume that's true, that would make 0.78 of a mile between each stop he'd have to make, and his total trip would become about 78.5 million miles around the globe. Now, this would not include bathroom breaks or little side trips or little stops here and there. This means that Santa's sleigh is moving at about 650 miles per second. Now, that's 3,000 times the speed of sound. Now, just for comparison, the fastest man-made vehicle, the Ulysses space probe, moves at a pokey 27.4 miles per second. Now, if you factor in the fact that a normal reindeer can run about 15 miles an hour at best, this is a very, very impressive getup this guy has. Now, the payload of the sleigh adds a whole new interesting dynamic. Assuming that each child around the globe gets just one medium-sized set of Legos, which weighs about 2 pounds, this would mean that the payload of Santa's sleigh is now over 500,000 tons, not including Santa himself, which I understand that he's a pretty plump fella. On land, a conventional reindeer can pull no more than 300 pounds. Now, let's just assume for the sake of argument that a flying reindeer can pull maybe, what, 10 times that amount? I would say that it would be impossible that 8 or 9 or 10, or however many the song says, could actually do this job. I would estimate that Santa would need about 360,000 flying reindeer to actually get this job done. Now, that adds a tremendous amount of weight to the payload, not including the sleigh itself. This adds another 54,000 tons to the payload. That's roughly 7 times the Queen Elizabeth, the ship, not the monarch herself. Not that it really matters, since Santa, as a result of accelerating from a dead stop to over 650 miles per second, would be subjected to centrifugal forces of over 17,500 Gs. This would mean that a 250-pound Santa, which by the way seems ludicrously slim for a Santa, I mean I weigh in at what, 220 pounds, would be pinned to the back of his sleigh with the force of 4,315 pounds per square inch, instantly crushing his bones and organs and reducing him to a quivering blob of red goo. Now, any man that could fulfill this job is really, really something.